Welcome to Politics Done Right. I am your host, Egberto Willies. This is a progressive program that will take the mystery out of politics. This is the program that will encourage you to make sure government becomes we the people. Whether you are liberal, progressive, conservative, or otherwise, you get to air your point of view. We are an independent media outlet that, unlike mainstream media beholden to corporations, we only owe allegiance to you. Remember, you can also send me a tweet at EGBERTOWILLIES. That is at Egberto Willies. Let us engage. It is Politics Done Right. Well, folks, welcome to one more edition of Politics Done Right. I'm Egberto Willies, your host. I just got through with the last video. I hope it all comes out the way it should. I've got 4 videos for you guys today. I think you guys are going to enjoy each one of the subject. Anyhow, welcome aboard Politics Done Right. We are going to have a great show for you today. I'm going to, as soon as I am done loading up these 4 videos, which I am doing as we speaketh. I am doing as we speak. Loaded, shot, loaded. Let me save that off in case we crash. I don't have to reload. Bingo! We are there. We are there. We are there. Welcome aboard E2247. Welcome aboard Patrick Magner. Welcome aboard Patrick. Where are you from, Patrick? I know E2247 is from everywhere. Did you remember to put film in the camera? Ha 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 ha. Memory, brother, memory. Bruce Pollard is in the house from Kingwood, Texas. We also have in the house Michael Rutnen from the beautiful Brooklyn, New York, where my uncle lives, actually. And we have Lee Grant from Montgomery County and Eric Hayes from Atascocita, Kingwood, and the one and only Melanie Keelan, La Preciosa de España, right? Barcelona, España, Barcelona, Spain. And of course, bringing it in, we have Yvette Avery Herod from Atlanta, Georgia. ¿Cómo estás, mi preciosa Yvette? How you doing, Yvette? Great to see you here as well. Patrick Wagner is from Houston. Hey, Patrick, are you the Patrick that calls into the morning show sometimes? If so, great. You have some great thoughts, my brother. You have some great thoughts. Anyway, folks, we're going to have a great show for you today. How's everybody doing? Oh, man. I have to, I am going to make sure to read this every time E2247 puts it out, because I think it's sort of a shame that we spent all the time on what's occurring in court with Donald Trump, which is really silly, right? More than likely, it's going to be a hung jury, but even that, who cares? The people who adore Trump will continue to adore him. We have to work on those people who we can actually work on, which is what we intend to do. But anyway, let's go ahead and get busy with E2247. Very important. Let's get started. It says as follows: Day 224, day 224 since October 7th, 2023, equal at least 35,303 Palestinians killed, 31 persons more than day 223, at least 79,261 wounded, 56 persons more than day 223, equals 114,477 casualties. 564 casualties equal 511 per day. Of an estimated 5,385,012 people is approximately 2% of West Bank and Gaza Palestinian population, with 35,303 Palestinians killed, equal 158 per day killed. 158 people per day killed. That's a plane crashing every day. 38% are kids and women. And I wonder if that 38% is a low number. As of 10th of May, let's see, as of the 10th of May, more than 500 killed in occupied West Bank and East Jerusalem, Palestinians, non-Gaza, OPT, I'm not sure what that means. Were U.S. to be in the situation of Palestine now, 224 days into genocide by Israel, U.S. has proportionally killed U.S. proportional killed and injured total would be 7,157,781, or 2% of the U.S. population. I think those numbers should give us pause. And I think putting it out there over and over again, these are human beings murdered every day by Netanyahu's IDF. Every day. Every day. Every day. All right, let's see what else we got here. J. Ray is in the house. J. Ray is from Third Ward. He says, "Happy Friday, brother." Thank you, J. Ray. Eric Hay says he will get off due to liar coin. No, he'll get off due to something in a video that I'll show. How are you today? We are doing great today, Melanie Keelan. We're doing great. We're doing great. Paul Fleming is in the house from Atlanta, Georgia. Let's see what else we got here. I think all that's good. Okay. The United States has barred imports from 26 Chinese cotton traders or warehouse facilities on Thursday as part of its efforts to eliminate goods made with forced labor of the Uyghur minority. Uyghur, I think they call it Uyghur, of the Uyghur minorities from the U.S. supply chain. Paul Fleming, there are dumb church scandals, and then there's a story of a Texas megachurch that tried to manipulate traffic data in order to trick the city into giving them a stoplight until they got caught. Wow, I didn't hear about that one. We also have, let's see, Eric Hayes says, great advice for buying a home. You guys can read what he wrote down there. Let's see. Also, OPT means occupied Palestinian territory. Thank you, brother. Appreciate you enlightening me of what the acronyms mean. All right, from Eric, he says, great advice on home buying. The only kind of mortgage I recommend is a 15-year fixed rate loan where the payment is due no more than 25% of your monthly take home pay. If you're married, the maximum payment can be calculated using your combined monthly income. People get angry at me when I give this advice, but the frustration doesn't change how the math adds up. Remember, the monthly payment on its own, it's not a clear indication of the entire cost. A 30-year mortgage sounds great at first because the payment is lower, but even an average price home 30-year mortgage costs well over $100,000, more than 15-year mortgage instead than a 15-year mortgage would for exact same home. That happens because the interest spread over 30 years instead of just 15 years. That makes a dramatic difference. I'd rather you have that $100,000 earning you interest in investment instead of being paid back to the bank. Actually, it won't work out that way because that 100-year saving is the amortized amount accumulated over the 30-year period of that loan. So that wouldn't be like saying I invested $100,000 in the bank. That would simply be saying I had an extra extra $100,000 in my totality of savings over that year, that particular year, or you'd have to amortize it over, take out what that payment would be, but you can't really because the 30-year difference between the 15-year, you don't have that available cash to put away in savings. So it's these numbers are, first of all, your numbers are true, Eric. I'm just saying from a practical standpoint, uh, it doesn't work unless you just say, you know what I'm going to do is buy less house. But if less house with the price of homes right now and the interest rates, less house may be no house at all because you may not be able to find that less house unless it's something that's going to be a fixer-upper. And if you don't know how to fixer-upper things, that may cause. So the people are just hosed in the house market as long as we allow corps to control the entire price structure of what a home really costs. All right. So that's good advice, Eric, if people can live by it. The problem is people can't always live by it. Some people have the privilege that they can. Most probably don't. All right. Let's see. Michael Rudden says if Trump gets off, it will be because a MAGA partisan got on the jury after lying during the screening and ignoring the propensity of evidence. Well, I think that's a good possibility. I also think that Donald Trump probably knows exactly who these people are, and you will have a third party probably 5 degrees of separation from the Trump organization, bribing them to hold out, and a whole lot of money would come thereafter. I think one of the closing arguments that the judge should give is that all of these people, if at any point in time any shenanigans are found in their own accounting, that they will be judged by the full extent of the law if they allow their judgment to be, if they allow their outcome to be judged, or rather to be bribed. But my feeling is that Trump has already gotten to some one of those judges. That's just my feeling. That's all. I have no evidence to what I just said. Zero evidence to what I just said. All right, let's see. If Chief Justice Roberts doesn't realize that he needs to get his house in order, he's making a terrible mistake. I don't know what he can do other than going ahead and say we will abide by putting these rules on the Supreme Court and abiding by it. Again, separation of powers is an interesting thing, but the framers of the Constitution made a severe mistake, and that mistake was the way you get to remove Supreme Court justices, and it just doesn't work anymore. Impeachment as the only real way to remove a Supreme Court justice just doesn't work anymore. The only other option is packing the courts, and packing the courts eventually you'll get a court larger than the Congress after every administration comes in and do that. So the idea is the Supreme Court structure is completely and entirely broken. It's a flaw in the Constitution. How do we solve that? I am not sure. But I'm pretty sure you could get some scholars together that come up with a mechanism where the Supreme Court cannot be bought as it has right now. Bridge MCP from Binghamton, New York is in the house. My beautiful Bridge, how you doing, sis? Tell you everything you need to know. After the 2020 presidential election, as some of Trump's supporters falsely claimed that President Biden has stolen the office, many of them displayed a startling symbol outside their home, on their cars, in online posts, an upside-down American flag. One of the homes flying an inverted flag during that time was a residence of Supreme Court Justice Samuel A. Alito Jr. in Alexandria, Virginia, according to photographs and interviews with neighbors. The upside-down flag was aloft on January 17, 2021. The image showed. I have a story on that one. Good minds think alike, Bridge. You nailed it. You nailed it, sis. You nailed it. Eric K says your message is to tax the rich. So doing that, Forbes richest 400 would get you 4 trillion, which does not run the country for 7 months or so. And that is, you know why that's the case, Eric? Because you have fallen into the trap as far as what income is. If you define income as what rich people define as income, meaning their income from dividends, their income from labor, and their income is salary, then what that statement is true. But if you define income as a stock appreciation and you also put a wealth tax on, we would be awash in money. You simply don't understand the amount of wealth just a few people have. When you understand it, you will see how much free cash there is out there. And there should be no one thinking that, oh, that is raiding the rich. No, the rich raided us. The inflation that we're looking at right now, if you want to take off your ideological blinders, the inflation that we are seeing right now is effectively the rich taxing us all. The rich applied a tax to us all because they could, and they don't have to answer to anybody as a politician does. That inflation that you are seeing is a tax by the rich on you. And those of you who tolerate it, those of you who defend it, that is just saying you believe in indentured servitude, in which you are the indentured servant. Mike Cisak says Michael Rudden, or maybe it was because they charged it trumped up the beginning with. Forget it, that's junk. All right, let's see what else we got here. Paul Fleming says, inside the private and confidential conservative group, the promises to crush liberal dominance. What can I say? Egberto, I'm tired of corporations buying up land and jacking up housing. That's what I'm talking about. Jacobin Wall Street is buying up entire neighborhoods. Policy states across the country are finally pushing back on Wall Street firms buying up swaths of single-family homes to rent out at high prices. That's where the problem is. And Eric, that ties into when you talk about mortgages, right? You're talking about what people should do, what we, the individuals, should do based on a false system created by these plutocrats to rip us off. And now, what Michael Rudden is pointing out from the stories in Jacobin and elsewhere is that rich people are buying up homes, right? And then holding on to those homes because they can, and they're doing the same thing the oil cartel does: cut back on supply to force prices up. And that's what we are seeing right now. And those of you who defend these folks, good luck. Egberto, it's a lot easier to pass term limits to or unpack the court, 13 justices for 13 circuit courts, than it is to remove a Supreme Court. You're right. You're absolutely right. Let's see. Eric, as long as you believe that what I'm saying is robbing the solution, when you start looking at rich people raising prices just so that their bottom line goes up that much higher, and you don't call that robbing, that shows an enslaved mind. Again, think about it. A petty thief goes into a 7-Eleven and he takes something. The law says that's a violation. But a corporation looks at society and say, hey, society has a few extra dollars in it. Even though my prices haven't gone up, I won't allow society to keep those extra dollars to save or do whatever they want with it. I will take it away from them, especially if the product I provide is a product they must have. You see, that's how it works. We don't call that theft. Technically speaking, it is doing the same thing. It's theft. But you defend it from the rich person and you abhor it, you scourge it for the poor person. That's an enslaved mind. Paul Fleming says, how the ultra wealthy uses foundation to bank millions. San Francisco Giants co-owner and GOP mega donor Charles Johnson saw 38 million in tax breaks in just 5 years by donating his Bay Area mansion to his own foundation and claiming it would be open to the public 5 days a week. In fact, the building is only open once a week. On the weeks it's actually open for 2 hours, guided tours give to a small number of winners of a ticket lottery. It's like that's what it's all about. They get these laws passed that sounds like philanthropy, but in reality, it's just a tax break. Michael Rodden says, Egberto, one of the screens, the screen is not working very well, but here it goes. Reddit, 1977, when Florida minimum wage was $235, you could buy a home for $24K in Altamonte. What is this, Rodden? Let's see. Okay, I'll see if it goes onto the screen real quick and see if folks can see it, but it's going to be jumping for a while, so I won't leave it very long. Okay, so here we go. There is the screen that Michael wants me to put on. Take a quick look at it, and then I'm going to take it off because the screen is blinking. All right, I hope you got a screenshot. Here we go. All right, now, Bridge MCP says, can a Supreme Court justice be removed? Yes, and here's how. The framers of the U.S. Constitution include a process to do just that. That said, it has never really been done successfully, yet Section 1, Article 3 of the Constitution says, the judicial power of the United States shall be vested in our Supreme Court and in such inferior courts as the Congress may from time to time ordain and establish. The judges both of the Supreme Court and inferior court shall hold their offices during good behavior and shall at stated times receive for their services a compensation which shall not be diminished during their continuance of office. Yes, but again, it takes what's known as a impeachment to remove them. I don't know of any other way other than impeachment or death that removes a Supreme Court justice. Anybody know if there's some other mechanism? I don't think the Constitution has another mechanism. All right, Eric K says, once I'm ready to sell it, it's the highest bid. All right, Patrick Wagner says, 60 years of an hourly income of $3,600 an hour for 12 years a day, 7 days a week will make you a billionaire. That sounds very achievable to the average person, right? Oh boy, thank you very much. Patrick, you must have heard my program a few mornings ago when I said no billionaire earned their money, they're scamping off of others. All right, let's see what else we got here. Okay, I think it's about time for me to start playing videos before I continue reading. The first one that I want to point out is the former Georgia Lieutenant Governor who has a few choice words for Brother Trump. We have former Lieutenant Governor of Georgia, a red state. Well, it's becoming purple because, again, progressive values are starting to pop up everywhere, as we know. But he's a real conservative governor, former lieutenant governor, and he comes straight out and he says Donald Trump is a corrupt man. Donald Trump is a damaged man. And I imagine he could say a lot more. I want you to listen to this out of the mouth of a real conservative Republican. Then we'll take it on the other side.
I'm here to provide as much air cover as I can, take the heat, and continue to do the right thing. Because at the end of the day, Donald Trump is absolutely wrong for this country. And it just continues to play out. Even as you watch these trials play out, I don't know what the legal outcomes of them are going to be, but the salacious details, the peek into his soul shows you what a corrupt thinker, what a corrupt operator, what a broken man this person is. And I can only imagine the difficult decisions that rest in his lap as president going forward, the difficult foreign policy decisions, economic decisions, border issues. If they're all self-centered answers that come out of his mouth just for his sole purpose of survival, we're going to have a rough 4 years.
That was lifelong Republican from Georgia, former Georgia Lieutenant Governor Geoff Duncan.
Now, it's important for us to give homage to guys like Geoff Duncan. You don't have red state. Well, it's becoming purple because, again, progressive values are starting to pop up everywhere, as we know. But he's a real conservative governor, former lieutenant governor, and he comes straight out and he says Donald Trump is a corrupt man. Donald Trump is a damaged man. And I imagine he could say a lot more. I want you to listen to this out of the mouth of a real conservative Republican. Then we'll take it on the other side.
I'm here to provide as much air cover as I can, take the heat, and continue to do the right thing. Because at the end of the day, Donald Trump is absolutely wrong for this country. And it just continues to play out. Even as you watch these trials play out, I don't know what the legal outcomes of them are going to be, but the salacious details, the peek into his soul shows you what a corrupt thinker, what a corrupt operator, what a broken man this person is. And I can only imagine the difficult decisions that rest in his lap as president going forward, the difficult foreign policy decisions, economic decisions, border issues. If they're all self-centered answers that come out of his mouth just for his sole purpose of survival, we're going to have a rough 4 years.
That was lifelong Republican from Georgia, former Georgia Lieutenant Governor Geoff Duncan.
Now, it's important for us to give homage to guys like Geoff Duncan. You don't have to agree with him on policy. You don't have to agree with him on ideology. But what you do agree is that in a country where we're all Americans, that what is of utmost importance is that we don't allow ourselves to cede our democracy to somebody like Donald Trump and his peons. These guys represent a clear and present danger. We all know it. We all see it. We all smell it. And by the way, we have the ability to do something about it. And when you look at the polls, first of all, it's not that I don't believe the polls, right? I do believe that when you look at the questions within the polls, they're missing something very important. And that is exactly when somebody gets behind the seriousness people are going to take when they get behind that curtain and put their hands up and start weighing things and see what's the opportunity cost. What's the opportunity cost of electing a Trump as opposed to a Biden, even as you may not like Biden, even as you may not think he's the ideal one, but you realize what you would have lost if you go with the guy just to punish somebody you don't like. And again, we have to be practical. We've got to be pragmatic. And that is what I intend to do. I imagine that's what most Americans are going to do. And I will contend that most Americans, by the time November comes along, they'll do that in a landslide and have a progressive wave from the county to the state to the federal government. Mark my word.
We spend a lot of time deconstructing the news, trying to parse it into a form that everybody can understand. We try to find those little nitpicks where it flies above the fray, etc. If you really like these videos that we do, I want to ask a big favor. Please go ahead, number one, subscribe to our channel, and number two, please join if you can. Thank you so kindly for watching. Keep watching. Please remember to share. We must populate the entire internet with our progressive message, a message that we know is what most Americans say that they want. So help us, please join.
Absolutely join. Hey guys, forgive me. I had a little crash that I had to correct, but also I went ahead and launched a graphic program because I wanted to do something that is very, 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 very important. And the thing that I want to do that is very important is that our PDR Posse member, Carl Cox, is now officially, here it is, ring the bell, there we go. Congratulations to Carl Cox, Bachelor of Arts degree in Interdisciplinary Studies. Brother, we are proud of you. There was a time Brother Cox decided that I don't know if I can handle this. It's hard. I'm an older guy trying to get my degree. And you know what? Everybody here said, stick it out, stick it out, stick it out. And the brother stick it out. And now he has his Bachelor's of Arts degree in Interdisciplinary Studies. Congratulations, Brother Carl Cox. We are proud of you. Give Carl Cox a big hand, everybody. Give Carl Cox a hand. He did it. He did it. He did it. He did it his way. Anyway, folks, let's continue with the program. I need to shut this down here. Get all the bells and whistles going again. Anyway, let's go ahead. Let's go ahead and see what else we got here. What else we got here? What else we got here? What else have we got here? But it says this means that justices, let's see, hold office as long as they've chosen and can only be removed from office by impeachment. The only justice to be impeached was back in 1805 when Associate Justice Samuel Chase, who was appointed by President George Washington, was accused of allowing his political views to interfere with his decision, tending to prostitutes, the court, and his position. Whoa! And his name was Samuel. Well, another Samuel needs to go as well, right? All right. Anyway, continuing with the program. Yes, Michael, the system crashed and I had to do a quick, there's a way that you can do a quick reboot. And if you get there in time, you don't lose your feed. The feed stays there and waits for you. I think it waits for about 90 seconds or so. And if you can jump back on that feed, you're okay. And you know what? We jump back onto the feed. All right, continuing. Let's see what else we got here. I'm scrolling down. Lee Grant says, seems the campaign from here on will not tout Biden's record, but will just be an ever-expanding investigation of Trump. No, I am going to tout Biden's record. I guarantee you that. I will tout Biden's record. It's much better than I could have possibly expected it to be. All right, let's go ahead now with our third video. Our third video is the one now that which one did I just show? I think I just did the Alito one. It's Michael Steele and his thoughts on the Republican Party and where do we go from here. So let's listen to that and then we'll take it on the other side. Michael Steele nails it. First of all, he points out that the reason you have all those politicians parading to New York to be with Donald Trump is that he doesn't have the backing of his family. So they have to create some sort of a charade because they also know that they want something out of Donald Trump. And so he goes ahead and he pulls the strings and they're there. But I mean, at the end of this piece, this clip, Michael Steele says the most prescient thing. And it's a one that I am betting Americans are going to see, but we'll see. Check this out. We'll take it on the other side.
I love the factionalization of the Republican Party right now. More of it. More, please. More, please. It's good because what it will expose is just how deep the rot is in the party. And they will, at some point, as this race will illustrate, there's more of this to come, particularly if Trump wins, where they're going to start to eat each other, cannibalize each other in primaries, because this is the signal that the new dawn is upon us. The new age of Trumpism is upon us. And this race is a good example. So Good is who was there first, to put it that way. He's got the interlopers coming in who's running further to his right. And I think you'll see more of this around the country. And of course, coming to New York.
What does that even mean now, though, right? I mean, because you used to say, this person's more conservative.
Yeah, it doesn't mean anything. It's all. It just means that you may kiss Trump's ring. I'll kiss something else. That's basically what it means.
And the VP audition?
The VP audition is laughable because Trump knows who he wants. So if I can get you to tap dance for me for free? Guess what? You're going to tap dance, and I'm going to help you do it and make you do it. And I'm going to incentivize you to do it, which is what he's doing. The word went out in the party, very simply put. The beginning of this trial was such that no one was there, not even his family, noted. Not even his family. So they found Eric and said, Eric, you got to go sit behind Dad. And he was like, okay. And then Laura showed up and she's there. But then that wasn't enough because the wife isn't there. And the sons aren't there. Where's Ivanka? She's not there. So the word went out, we need to send in the reinforcements. So everybody in the party now, giddy up and galley up to New York. And we're going to do the walk-in together. We're all going to walk in like something out of, an NBC crime story, behind. You can just hear the dun-dun behind them as they come through the door. And the reality of it is they look foolish, particularly when you show up in the same suit, same shirt, and same tie. And the reality, again, speaks to the point that everyone right now, particularly those auditioning to be his VP, think that they have the edge. And by doing this, by self-debasing themselves, by, capitulating and going out in front of cameras and saying the foolishness that they say, that Donald Trump is going to love them more than the other. And in fact, he doesn't give a damn about any of you because he knows you'll do whatever he wants you to do. And at the right moment, he's going to say, the rest of y'all step down, but still do what I need you to do. I'm picking this one. And they'll do it.
But they're not just debasing themselves. They're fundraising from the courtroom. You have Laura Trump.
Well, you can debase yourself and fundraise too.
There's many ways to do it. But look, you have Lauren Boebert already fundraising off of it. I mean, in some ways that is making a mockery of the entire system.
Well, they mocked it from the very beginning. Their whole shtick is to mock the system, to go tear it down, and to make money off of that. That doesn't distress me. None of that distresses me. The idiocracy is the idiocracy. What I'm bothered by is how many more Americans, after seeing this crap show day in and day out, continue to buy it. And they think the threat is Joe Biden, when the threat is already in the house.
Michael Trump nails it. The question is, will enough people continue to buy the charade, buy the crap, and really think that the threat to the American democracy, the threat to the American way of life is Biden? Or will they open their eyes and see the clear and present danger that Donald Trump represents? I mean, his past presidency was a failure. Believe it or not, the pandemic indirectly, as much as he botched it, it could be the thing that have most Americans forget about all the crap that he did pre-pandemic. That was just exacerbated by the pandemic, but can be covered up by using the pandemic. Will Americans realize that? I am betting that if enough of us go out there and do the job that we're doing right here, go out there and inform, go out there and tell, go out there and point things out with real world stories, that it will make a difference, and that the landslide I continuously I'm talking about, the landslide that I'm inching on, will actually be realized. Stay tuned. Absolutely stay tuned. Absolutely stay tuned. Michael Rudden says, or rather, Paul Fleming says, debates. If you actually follow what happened yesterday, you've noticed the same thing that I did. Trump has prepared the groundwork to bail out of the debates and try to blame Biden. Trump won't debate. His job is victim, and he's a putty tat witch. Listen, I want him to try to bail out. And what I am constantly saying is, too often progressives, including the president, are always on the defensive. I want them to be out there like you have just said. Just like you have just said. He's laid the groundwork to bail out. I want the people on the left, and including the president, to say, watch, Donald Trump is going to find an excuse to bail out. We have the debate. Watch, Donald Trump is going to find the excuse to bail out. That needs to be inculcated in people's minds right now. He's a bailout master. He always says he's going to do and not do. He always says he's going to. He's going to testify in his court. I have a feeling that he just may testify, because I don't think he has anything to lose. Because I really don't think he has anything to lose. I wouldn't be surprised if he testifies, right? But anyhow, who cares? Who cares? He always his words mean nothing. So I think it is time for us to say, hey guys, Donald Trump accepted the debate, but his words mean nothing. Watch, he's going to try to find some way to get out of this debate, and put that in his mind and threaten that is what's inculcated in people's minds. And when that occurs, you'll start to see that change we're talking about. But good catch, Paul Fleming. Good catch. Michael Rade says, at least there's some good news on the horizon. Food shipments will be arriving by boat starting this weekend. NBC News, a massive U.S. dock to help deliver aid to Gaza is completed. The U.S. towed the floating system south from Israel. The delivery of food and other aid could begin in the first 24 to 48 hours after installation. 3 U.S. officials told NBC News. This stuff drives me crazy. It's international law. It is an international crime to starve people. The easiest way to keep those trucks flowing is through Egypt and through Israel. The UN should go into Israel and go into Egypt and make sure those trucks go through. And Israel should have no right to talk about stopping and inspecting. Leave that work to the UN and let them go do their jobs. You know what? As they were showing pictures of them building that floating dock, I'm going to tell you what I found astounding. As they're floating that dock to the Gaza base, you see, as they pan the cameras, you see utter destruction along the beach. All the buildings are destroyed. And then you look far over into the horizon, probably 10 miles, 15 miles down. And you see, I don't know what city that is, but you see within the fog, or within the fog, not fog, but within the smog, you see skyscrapers, you see good buildings. So you have massive destruction by Israel. Israel say these people are the people that they're concerned about. Massive destruction. And right in your view, you see skyscrapers, you see buildings, you see all these things. And you have to then ask yourself, who is the victim? Who is perpetrating the killing of a people? Who is perpetrating genocide? Your eyes are not deceiving you. Your eyes are not deceiving you. 1,200 Israelis were murdered by Hamas. Over 35,000 Palestinians were murdered by Netanyahu and the IDF, as well as a decimation of 60% of all buildings in Gaza. Please tell me, from a humanitarian standpoint, where are those people to go? Where are they to live? Please. If one cannot see what that represents, nobody should have compassion for Netanyahu and the IDF going forward. How can you? They have shown the ability to kill more than what Hamas is capable of doing. Hamas sends rockets. We've defended them with the Iron Dome. Nobody defends them against what Israel is doing to them. This is a battle between cousins that's been going on for quite a while. People, learn some history. And if you learn history, you're not fooled by TikTok. They want to take away TikTok because you have a lot of professors on TikTok reminding us about history. Folks, educate yourself. Educate yourself. Paul Fleming says, so Israel rolls into Rafah with no plan for success, its tactics under severe scrutiny, and the fate unknown of the hostages who, if they are still alive, are surviving under deplorable conditions. No wonder tens of thousands of Israelis take to the streets each week. War for war's sake might meet Netanyahu's personal objective to remain in power, but it does not satisfy our Israel's objectives, and it doesn't satisfy anybody's objectives. Brother Patrick says, House members want to inherit contempt structure to drag Garland in and jail him in House basement. Good try. Good try. Good try. All right. Let's see what else we got here. Bernie Sanders, Michael says, Bernie Sanders has been in office for decades, saving up his money, and then he released a bestseller, and you point to Bernie when there are so much worse examples in Congress who are actually doing open corruption. I mean, again, I think Eric has lost credibility. I like Eric, but Eric is not. Eric doesn't care about facts. Eric cares about partisanship and ideology. So whenever you're listening to Eric, you don't need to answer whenever he comes with something that is good, like he did with the mortgage, etc. Answer that. But when it comes to the ridiculous thing, just give a one-line answer. If you're full of it, this is reality. Here is the evidence. Bye-bye. Don't feed too much. Answer it for the people in the blogs, for the people in the podcast, so that we know it's there, that we answer the stupidity, but don't dwell on it so that it messes with your own psyche. Because when it comes to these items, Eric is full of it. He has no idea what he's saying. He is deprived. There's something wrong there in the mind when it comes to this ideological issue. But I still love him. All right, let's continue. Brit says, Jared Kushner's latest massive foreign investment deal sparks uproar. Jared Kushner secured a massive $500 million contract with the state of Serbia to build a hotel on the memorialized ruins of a former military base in Belgrade. The New York Times reported Thursday. Announcements of the contract reportedly provoked protests in Belgrade against the deal, which is being bankrolled by Kushner's Saudi investment company, Affinity Partners, in defense of the contract. A Serbian official described Kushner's company, primarily funded by foreign interests, as a reputable American company. That's a joke. Paul says, Kamala Harris homeownership is one of the best ways to build wealth. President Joe Biden and I outlined a blueprint to build 2 million affordable homes units to lower costs for home buyers and renters and provide $25,000 in down payment assistance for first-time home buyers. Those are the kinds of things you have to do. But I don't want this kind of gift to people which allows the plutocrats to profit from it. I want these homes to be built by nonprofits, not by these investment companies, etc. So, I mean, thank you, Biden, but let's make sure and not make that be another wealth transfer to the rich people, because a program like that can yet be another wealth transfer. I mean, it is like when we give the ability for people to build wheelchairs, right? We get these private companies that start to build wheelchairs, but these wheelchairs are no longer $200 wheelchairs, but $3,500 wheelchairs. We got to be careful about that. Patrick Magner says in 1910 to 1920, the U.S. refused to aid in creating a Jewish state because we understood it means forcing a violent paradigm on a native population. Again, folks, learn the history. I appreciate you knowing your history, Patrick. I do appreciate you knowing your history. Last video of the day. Trump is a fascist is the name of the video that I gave, and here we go. Yes, Donald Trump is in fact a fascist, and no other than Michael Tomasky, who's the editor at the New Republic. His new book points that out, gives the examples. But this discussion between Anand Hiradas, Stephanie Rule, as well as Morning Joe and others, points out exactly the problem we have. And it's a problem with the media. It's a problem with politicians fearing to come out and say things the way they are because of a false balance. Listen to this, and then we'll take it on the other side.
When you have people saying, oh, we can't impeach him, and then they go, oh, we can't prosecute him for the stealing of nuclear secrets, then the covering up of the stealing of nuclear secrets, then the lying to the Justice Department about stealing nuclear secrets, and then the lying to the FBI about the stealing of nuclear secrets, and then the attempt to destroy cameras that show you stole nuclear secrets, then the attempt to flood the facilities to hide the fact you stole nuclear secrets. And you've got Mitt Romney, who's supposed to be the paragon of virtue for the Republican Party, saying, let him go. Please, where does this lead us as a nation?
That is how fascism wins, Joe. And as Jonathan just said a couple minutes ago, you pair all of that, the past actions, with what he is plainly telling us he's going to do if he gets power again. You know, he hasn't made any secret of this. Project 2025 spells it out very clearly. There have been many leaks to the New York Times and other publications from his people saying what they're going to do in terms of, for example, rounding up undocumented immigrants and so on. And then there's his own recent Time magazine interview, that shocking interview just a couple weeks ago, where he said openly the things he is going to do. I guess some would dispute the term fascism. I sure don't. I know millions and millions of Americans don't. When he says, the threat is internal and these people are vermin polluting our country, that's fascist rhetoric. There's no way around it. So what we've done, if I may just quickly plug, we have 8 essays in our new issue by some of the great historians of fascism in our country, Ruth Ben-Ghiat being one of them, and other pieces. Brian Stelter, formerly of CNN, did a fantastic, chilling piece on what might happen to the media. Just 8 different articles looking at what this country might be like if he reassumes power and has his way and does the things he and his people are telling us they're going to do.
And by the way, Anand, everything that they write about, Donald Trump has already promised to do.
Yeah. And I think what's really interesting is thinking about this interview you did is that a lot of the reaction to Trump is not about ideology. It's about personality type. And I think since 2015, he came down the elevator. There have been 2 dominant personalities we've seen processing him. One of clarity and one that has this kind of emotional need to pursue balance at any price. Right? You see it in the media and you see it in leaders. I think I look at someone like Romney there, and it's this deep constitutional need to be balanced, no matter what. And so, yes, he's a criminal, but he should be part. Anytime you say anything that acknowledges the reality of the danger, there are these people, and they're in our media. They run newspapers.
But that's not constitutional balance. That's
no. I don't mean constitution I mean like inner constitution.
Oh, okay.
They think that's
in their inner constitution. It actually has nothing to do with what's happening. There's a certain personality type that is very dangerous for a moment like this.
Romney is thinking, this is better to balance my constitution than actually protect the constitution.
That he almost has a need, and a lot of people do. And I think it has actually been one of the biggest problems in the media also processing Trumpism, where you have newspapers that are very used to covering normal 2 sides, low taxes, high taxes, big government, small government. But when it is, do we do democracy anymore or not? There's this kind of both sidesing impulse. And that to me was the political version of the both sidesing impulse. And it's the wrong personality for, if Michael and the New Republic is right that we are in this very different historical moment where fascism, it is the wrong personality to protect the country in this time.
Anand's absolutely right, because in our conversation, we talked about, what would a second term look like for President Biden, or Donald Trump, right? The country is so polarized. It's divided. Joe Biden has actually gotten a ton done on a bipartisan basis.
True.
And I said, what would he need to do in the next term to try to really bring, people together? And I said, and what would Trump do? And he said, obviously, Trump is not looking to unite the country. He specializes in dividing it. And in it, he said, Joe Biden is a good guy. I like Joe Biden. And he didn't say that about Donald Trump. So I asked him about that. And immediately he needed to equate things. He wasn't going to say, I like Donald Trump. He's a good guy. He said, well, he's a laugh riot. He's really funny. And I'm like, really? Like
What?
that? Because he had to create an
Well, the
equivalent.
riot.
So there it is. She nails it. Imagine if politicians really spoke the truth. Imagine if the media would not cower as they talk about Donald Trump, as they talk about what he represents, as they talk about Project 2025. As they tell Americans what's really in store and give the example and the proof in every single platform, but they won't. And why don't they? Because they want to maintain this false balance. As soon as you leave those tracks, you know, there's a left track and a right track. Well, at times you have to get off the tracks altogether to point out truths, but they won't do it. And that's why we still have a slight risk of the country becoming a fascist country if Donald Trump becomes president. But the thing about it is that's what you have to work about. Educate Americans, we get a landslide. Keep them uneducated, and it's a 50-50 proposition who becomes president and whether we keep our democracy.
We spend a lot of time.
I just have to wonder sometimes about some of our right-wing brothers here in the chat. I just want to read this one. I mean, it is so insidious that I have to read it. I just want to show people the kind of indoctrinative mentality with false information that they're willing to accept. Listen to this. It came out in court that it was the Biden White House that put labeled classified folders in the pallet of boxes that they shipped to Mar-a-Lago. So what? What are you trying to say there? Are you trying to defend somehow that Donald Trump didn't take documents? It is just amazing how one would try to defend that the president acknowledges he took documents. He put documents in the truck. His people took the documents to Mar-a-Lago. He admits that. But you're still trying to find a way to make it that this is a Biden issue. I'm sorry. It is a Trump issue, and Trump is the one that must go down for it. And we can just hope the right thing is done. Otherwise, every president can become a traitor like Trump is right now. Anyway, we are coming to the end of the program, and I want to thank everybody, all of you, for listening. I want to thank you for being a part of the PDR Posse. And what I want to ask now is what I do at the end of every program, is ask you to become a member of the team. We need you to be a member of the team. And how do you become a member of the team? There are several ways. First of all, we have the all-encompassing way in which to donate to our team, and that becomes politicsdoneright.com/support. That has all the different options that you can use to support our program, and we accept a whole lot of different options. But we are partial to wanting folks to become patrons. How do you become a patron? Go to politicsdoneright.com/patron. Patrons have great benefits. All our books that I've written 5 books so far. I have 3 books in the process right now. All our current and future books you get to read as long as you are our member. As long as you're a patron, you can read all our books online. No problem whatsoever. Likewise, you can become a supporter by going ahead instead and buying our books. And where do you buy our books? You can go to politicsdoneright.com/books to purchase any one of our books. We'd love for you to do so as well. Thirdly, you can go ahead and support us by becoming a paid member of, or rather paid supporter of our newsletter. And how do you become a paid subscriber of our newsletter? Just go to politicsdoneright.com/newsletter. And folks, it is just a coffee a month. You know, so that we can keep promoting truth, so that we can keep doing these videos. Remember, we don't only do these videos, we don't only do this show. We do videos that we keep all over the place. And you know what I need to do? I need to give you HTTPS, let's see, politicsdoneright.com/info. If you want to know everything about the social platforms where we make sure and keep populated, we make sure to keep it well populated with information. And here it goes. If you go to politicsdoneright.com/info, it takes you to all our platforms. And let me go ahead and show you what I'm talking about. If you go to, let me go ahead and put that out there. That is, if you take a look at the list there, those are all the different platforms that we have, snippets, videos, articles, all of it for the progressive movement, to ensure that the progressive movement is well instituted in the field. I mean, right now there are thousands of people on the right just generating content so that the search engines, if you're looking up for who's better on the economy or all these things, that you get confused because the search engines see a lot of that topic that these zombies create on the right, and you get it. Mike Cisak, Ask Egberto Everything is on the first Saturday of every month. And we had it for May already, but we'll have one in June as well, my brother. So, as it turns out, we put all these snippets and articles we write and links to books and all that sort of stuff on all these different platforms that you see here. If you notice, there is Instagram, there is TikTok, there is Facebook, there is YouTube, there's LinkedIn, there is X, Twitter, there are the podcasts, there's the World Wide Web, there's the Patreon links, there's Pinterest, there's Medium, there's Substack. We make sure to put this information all over. It's a lot of time, a lot of effort to connect all of this. But that is what we need a lot of independence to do, to ensure that the system is populated with progressive information. I do my part with Politics Done Right and egbertowillies.com, and there are others that are doing the same, but we need your support. You give hundreds of dollars to the cable company. Some people do $100 a month, $200 a month to the cable companies. All we're asking for is, would you subscribe to our newsletter? The newsletter subscription, you can go and get it at politicsdoneright.com/newsletter. It costs less than a coffee a month. If you do that, and if we get enough hundreds of people, we can continue doing this as we should. Likewise, you can become a patron. Same sort of a deal with the Patreon. A lot of ways to support us. YouTube, there are a lot of ways to support us if you want to say, I am going to do my part to ensure that the progressive message gets out there. That is what we do. That's our goal. We intend to win. We don't win by sitting back. We win by actively educating, actively engaging. We're going to Baltimore for Netroots Convention, where every progressive blogger, every progressive writer, every progressive politician will be in Baltimore, and we will be there doing interviews. I'll be coming again for a few days with a page to raise funds for that by making people producers of the videos that we have out there. But for now, let's go ahead and please support us with one of the different options. Again, politicsdoneright.com/newsletter, politicsdoneright.com/books, politicsdoneright.com/support. Thank you. And if you want to see all the things, politicsdoneright.com/info. Thank you so kindly for spending this time with me. Have a great, grandiose weekend. And we'll be back live on Monday. But remember, we have replays on Saturdays, Sundays, and also every afternoon between the hours of 5 going forward. My name is Egberto Willies. This is Politics Done Right. And you guys know how I end this baby. I am what? Out.
Welcome to Politics Done Right. I am your host, Egberto Willies. This is a progressive program that will take the mystery out of politics. This is the program that will encourage you to make sure government becomes we the people. Whether you are liberal, progressive, conservative, or otherwise, you get to air your point of view. We are an independent media outlet that, unlike mainstream media beholden to corporations, we only owe allegiance to you. Remember, you can also send me a tweet at EGBERTOWILLIES. That is at Egberto Willies. Let us engage. It is Politics Done Right.